Cool. Hey there. All right, so finally we get to talk. It's been a couple of months in the making, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually it's kind of cool that we did wait because now we have even more to talk about. Like you've released your video now.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just first up introduce yourself, give us a little update on who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Alie, I'm 21, and I play music as a solo artist. And right now, at the moment, I put a video out, a music video for Frank Jones. Was my first music I put out, and I put also an EP on Spotify and every other platform. So it's 5 songs.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever met somebody through SoundCloud. I didn't even know that was a thing, which was so cool. I was so happy when you messaged me actually.
Yeah, it's new for me because I used to have a band and we were on SoundCloud too, and we were not like messaging people, we were not talking through SoundCloud too. And I was like, okay, let's start to message people. Maybe I'm gonna reach more people, and that's how. And really, it worked out for me. So yeah, it's really good.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that like, would you say that's the main way that you've been getting the word out? I mean, you're posting your music in other places as well, but I mean in terms of contacting people.
I think so. And I started with SoundCloud. So, I waited a couple of months before. So I put first on SoundCloud and messaging people. And then I put my Instagram and TikTok and everything else. So since I started with SoundCloud, it's really how I got to make my music heard and yeah, talk to people. Yeah.
That's very cool. Like I said, I didn't even know that was a thing that people contacted people through SoundCloud. So when I saw your message, I was really happy. I listened to your song. At that time, I was listening to Frank Jones, which I told
Yeah.
you I really liked the song and the sound of it. Since then, I've listened to the other stuff as well, and I've actually gone back and listened to some of your band stuff with the Red Jacks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Tripping was really cool, actually. That's a very cool song.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Feel a little bit numb these days. Drinking till I'm barely awake. Going out with people I barely know. Dinner show is playing as we watch the start for. I'm on the road and I'm having fun. Callie's in the backseat looking up. Poison in my blood, seeing through the wall.
Yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of stuff, and I think the main thing for me, like especially right now, there's a lot of stuff that's like AI generated. There's like this whole thing about I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't feel authentic to me. It doesn't feel real. And one of the things I found with your music right away is that it felt like this is a real person who's writing these songs and, a real voice, singing about real thoughts and ideas. I really like that. And so that was one of the things that really caught me. And since then, I've been listening to like Pretty Boy from Lincoln Street kind of on repeat. It's really great.
At the park, the weather's so sweet. Pretty boy sitting right next to me. I think he lives down Lincoln Street. I see him every day, I see him everywhere. And we talked a bit, he made me smile. I can't recall what we talked about, but something happened to me. My cool little heart started to beat. I thought,
Do you think that'll be the next song that you release as like your single, or not decided?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna prepare a music video for Pretty Boy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put out a video, and yeah, I really love this song actually. Yeah, it's really one of my favorite on the EP actually.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I saw you made a couple of videos where like, you're dancing with different people, like one person at a time. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just here talking, but that should be part of the video because it's really fun. Like it's just fun to watch. And then if you had like cuts to different to those things happening, the dancing happening in different places, there's one where you're like on the metro.
Yeah, exactly. And I had this idea because it's really, really fun. When I was making that video, I was like, oh yeah, I want to put out on YouTube also because it's really, really cool. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Um, I'm curious, like, okay, so you had your band, which it looks like you were together for maybe 3, 4 years, something like that. Like
Yes.
2019, you started?
Yeah, exactly. And we split up, I think it was 2021, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting about that story is that suddenly it seems like, or maybe this is just my perception, but it seems like sudden, like the band stops and then you just go, psh, like I realize it's still sort of getting started and stuff like that, but I see your name pretty much everywhere, you know? Wire Club. I don't even know what Wire Club is, and then suddenly I see your name on there. I'm like, wow. Like, so would you say that that has been like a motivation for you to sort of like try and do more with it, or I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of a bit silly, but it's kind of a revenge for me because like my band really we split up not in good terms,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was really like like they let me down, and I was thinking to myself, I want to do better, and I want to prove that I can be better and I can be just myself, be better than in the band. And yeah, that was really the motivation for me. So yeah, I
Well,
think yeah.
it's working. I mean, honestly, I was like, wow, because I looked up once I found out that you were in a band before this stuff. I was like, okay, now I'm curious. So I wanted to look it up and find out. And it was good actually. Like I said, I really liked the song "Tripping" was one of them. There was another one I wrote it down, "Midnight."
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. It was the last song we put out, I think. It was yeah, we did a video clip for this. It was fun.
yeah. You
Yeah.
guys are on YouTube with two of those. I think just those two songs actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That explains actually, because I was thinking that that one sounded sort of a little more similar to what you're doing currently, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Midnight, full moon in your hideaway. Checking to your bed to see if I'm here. Sad and kid won't save you. And my dear wants you free. Revenge, I say. Wolves are howling, there is hell to pay. Oh, boy, you've been a bad,
that's really interesting. Marilyn Monroe apparently is credited with this saying that sometimes things have to fall apart for good things to fall together,
Mhm.
you know? And so maybe that's what's going on right now is like, um, like you just said, the band let you down and you're like, I can do better. You're doing better. Like it sounds really good, and definitely, like I said, like it seems like I thought, okay, I'll just check for her name here, and boom, it's there. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's
Um,
so
I'm calling to let you know you don't have that power over me now. You don't have any power.
let's talk a little bit about the music itself. Like, what was your motivation for these songs? Like, is there actually a Frank Jones, or is that just like an example?
uh, yeah, Friend Jones is really kind of about my dad because when he was younger, he used to play music and he had a nickname for his music and it was Frank Jones. So one day I discovered some tapes with the name Frank Jones demo. So yeah, I started like listening to that stuff and I was kind of picturing some characters named Frank Jones who play music but doesn't work out, and yeah, it's kind
Oh,
of
wow.
how it yeah.
So it's kind of like if it were a book, it would be like realistic fiction, you know? So it's based on a real character, but then you sort of took it and shaped it the
Yeah,
way you wanted it to be. Oh, that's cool.
Frank Jones lives on another planet. He got a mouth, but he couldn't talk. Nobody knows how he was feeling, but I'm pretty sure he must be dead behind this tiny blue eyes. Frank Jones was only 6.
I was interested. I actually Googled that name, and there are tons of Frank Jones on the internet. So I was like,
I Yeah, it's a really common name, I think.
Well, yes, I imagine especially Jones is a very common name, but spelled with the CK at the end, I thought maybe not, and then yeah, it is. There are tons of people named Frank Jones. So that's cool. All right. How about, I don't know, you might not want to tell this story. The pretty boy from Lincoln Street. Do you happen to live on Lincoln Street? Is
No,
it?
actually, the story behind this is kind of funny because it never happened in real life. Like, this story is just what I was picturing myself. I was gonna move to New York, and I was imagining like meeting some guy or girl in the park, and we'll talk and stuff like this, and I imagine like a whole movie in my head, and I wrote this about like, yeah, it's not true, but yeah, it's not real, it's not a real story, but yeah, it's what
Yeah.
I was looking for when I was moving to New York. Yeah.
Okay. Right now you're in France though, correct?
Yeah.
So are you
Yeah.
from France originally or
Yes, yeah, I'm from France and I went to New York for school. So I went there like 3 or 4 months and I went back, I think it was in May or June. I
Mhm.
went back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I remember you saying actually it seemed like a really good opportunity at the time because I was going to be in Toronto for the summer, and if it had
Yeah.
locked up then we actually would have been in the same time zone, which would have been nice. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but like I said, actually I think this turns out to be better because I like the fact that I can now speak to you about the fact that you have your video on YouTube. And I don't know if I said it to you or if I said it in my intro, but you have like almost 8,000 views on that video already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of surreal for me.
That's
Yeah, I'm happy.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Are you playing live in some places, or is your main push like internet?
Not at the moment. I want to play live, but right now I don't have opportunities yet.
Mhm.
And I need to have like other band's member, like just musicians with me to perform. So right now I don't have, so that's why I'm putting everything on internet and hoping I get the opportunities to play live. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would be really surprised with what you've been doing in terms of marketing this yourself and bringing it out to people. I'd be really surprised if you talked to a bass player or a drummer and said, "Hey, I have 8,000 views on this one song on YouTube. Would you like to try and play live with me?" Like, which bass player would say, no, I don't think that sounds good." Like, they're in. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, now of course it's like finding people who match the style and who have the right work ethic and those types of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the next step for me to perform live. It's really what I want to do. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, now with all this technology, which really it's pretty amazing how, you're in France, I'm in China, and I've listened to a bunch of your music. We're talking together right now. So really you can make very real connections with people without having to be in the same room. Having said that, I went to see a really cool jazz band. They're probably around your age, I imagine. They were playing really good jazz. Like it wasn't like amateur night. It was a proper jazz bar and they were playing. And I just thought, if I heard a recording of that, I would like it. They were really good. Like the piano player was just sort of starting to learn to add a little fire to his playing. Um,
Yeah.
but seeing it, like I was 1 meter from the stage. It was just better. So I know what you mean by wanting to play live.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's not the same experience you have when you see people live and hearing just on your phone or yeah, on the internet. I mean, yeah, it's really not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's sort of where having the right band members comes in as well, because I mean, I played in a lot of bands over the years, etc. And some of the bands are fun, and some of them it's like, what just happened? Like, wow, I don't even know what we just did, but that was cool. We should do that again.
Yeah.
So there's the feeling, I mean, from a musician's perspective, but also from the audience perspective. Any audience that's paying attention is going to know when that is happening.
Yeah,
You take Frank Jones and you play it live with the right band, and it just takes on a whole new sort of
definitely.
meaning and level.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I need to do my research and find great musician.
yeah, there are lots of ways to do that as well. Just putting stuff out there on the internet, but there are lots of ways to meet people. I'm sure or at least you're learning all about that. I wanted to ask you, there's October 3rd, there was an article that was put out in Restless magazine, RSTLSS.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. How did that come about?
It was because that person made an article about our band. I think it was probably 2 years ago, and he went to see us live in Paris,
Hmm.
and he was really happy about it and really he really liked our music. And when I started playing solo, I sent it to him. I said, "Here's my new music right now." And he really liked it. So yeah, he gathered everything and yeah, put a really beautiful article. It's really amazing. The article is really, really nice. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, for people who are listening to this and who are curious, I'll put the link to that article in the show notes here. It's written in French, but of course, if you read it on the internet and you don't read French, you can translate it to English easily. I tried to read it in French. I'm Canadian, so I was like, I speak French. I can do this. And I was reading and I was like, kind of understood. And then I thought, well, no, I translate. And then once I read it, it was like, even the translation was really nice. Like, I thought they did a great job at running down the whole picture. It's well worth reading.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, really nice article. Really, I was surprised. I was like, wow, it's really,
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I think it's just exciting. Like I said, for me, like, I don't actually remember when it was that you and I first got in contact, but it must have been what, June, maybe?
I think so. Yeah. I think it was around June, I think.
Yeah, and so at that point, I just thought, wow, this is a really great sound. I really like what I'm hearing. And now, just a few months later, I'm like, clearly other people agree with me. They're, you know, it's it's really cool. So I really hope that you will be able to. I know you'll be able to continue doing what you're doing currently. I hope you'll be able to find the right band members as well to add that live aspect to it. What are your sort of goals right now? Like, if you were to look at, okay, here's where I am right now. This is what I'm doing, and these are the things that are working. What other than getting the live band, because we've talked about that, but just in general, what would be your sort of your goals, let's say over the next, I don't know, year, or maybe that's too far out, but do you have
I yeah, I think but it's not really doable like in yeah, a short time, but I think I want to find hopefully a manager so I can handle things not just by myself and be helped. I think it's gonna help a lot to have someone to yeah, to have a manager. And yeah, I think this is a huge deal for me. And yeah, finding dates and hopefully a studio to continue recording. I think for this year is the main goal is to record music again and hopefully have a manager this time to help me with the marketing and everything. I think yeah, that's the goal.
nice? Yeah. I recently actually episode, so this is season 2 for Our Mind on Music. We just celebrated our 1 year anniversary like last week or something like that. Episode 1 of this season, I interviewed a singer-songwriter named Gary Darnell Wortham. I've spoken to Gary many times. We've actually worked together now on it. We've collaborated on a song together, which is really cool. I spoke to Gary Darnell Wortham, and one of the things that he told me was about this company that he uses for the distribution of his
My
music.
distribution is done through CD Baby. For any independent artists out there, I'm going to go ahead and give them a plug if you don't mind, because, and I'm saying it not from a kickback, they don't give me anything for this, but I'm saying it from a know what it's like to be the guy who's saying, I'm going to produce and publish and do all this myself. And, I don't have the big label backing me. What's the best thing I can do for myself in terms of that? And the stories I've heard from other musicians about other distributors and their quirks, CD Baby seems to be one of the best, if not the best.
It's not a management company. I mean, when he puts out music, he sends it to them, and then they make sure that it's on everything. I'm not sure if they also help to promote the music, because that would be part of it, would be to get, you know, for example, on Spotify, to have your music on playlists with other musicians and songwriters.
Mm.
In this episode, I'll include that, and hopefully it might be useful for you as well to look into that, because management is part of it, and then who's going to help you distribute your music so that it gets onto even more areas for people to hear about it, and then how do they promote that. Actually, I will mention to you here right now, there's a new streaming platform that's starting up. I interviewed one of the guys from Stage Dive, which is the name of a new platform that's about to launch. I think next month they're launching.
Okay.
They're really cool because you can put your music on Stage Dive, and then when you do, I mean, you've probably already seen on Spotify, you need to get like millions of streams and downloads and stuff to even make like $1, you know.
Yeah.
Stage Dive, they're doing a format where you get paid based on how many views you get, and their profit sharing is, I believe, I did the math, it was like 100 times higher than Spotify. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I've spoken with a couple of songwriter, composers, musicians, and each person saying who they go through, how do they get their music out there. So I did an interview a little while ago with a guy who's starting up a streaming platform called Stage Dive, and their whole concept is that people like us who are writing songs and want to get the music out there, but we're not signing with the big name record companies, or possibly don't even want to, for how they manage that whole thing.
A lot of artists aren't getting paid full scale for their art. That's the sharp part of the sword, and we're at the wrong end of it right now. So eventually, with courageous people going out there and actually saying something and standing up for it, I think we'll get some balance.
If we can create a platform that puts the creator back in the driver's seat and let them steer, that's the dream.
So basically, like, if you get 100 listeners to go onto Stage Dive and listen to your music and to stream it or download it, whatever, the money that you would see from that, which may not be like a main focus at this point, but in order to be able to fund the next projects and to be able to do all that kind of stuff, that has to be coming in too, and so that's one of the places that you can go, that they're not trying to just take your music and they get all the profit. Like, they're actually, their goal is to take people like yourself who are starting to get your name out and help you do that, and also help to make sure that the money comes in from the streaming goes to you so you can continue.
Yeah, really, it's really nice. I think I'm gonna write this down because it's really nice. Thank you.
No
I'm gonna
problem.
write this.
Yeah, I was it was one of those things as well. It was just one of those things. I'm looking through the internet and I see this thing, what's Stage Dive, and then once I read about it, I was like, no, it's not like as good as what I thought it was going to be, right? So I was like, no, I want to talk to this guy. So I wrote a message to John Bruce, who is one of the guys who's involved with Stage Dive. I interviewed him, and as we spoke, like in an episode like this, I was like, wait a minute, this is actually what I hoped it would be,
Yeah.
So I think it might be really useful for you too, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, like, one of the things that I think when I listen to, or what, no, better said, when I'm talking about something that I've heard, is like, how do I explain to people why they should listen to it? Like, I like your music. I saw on Reddit, I saw some comment about your music on Reddit, and I was like, I started to think, wait a minute, why do I like this so much? I think it's mostly what I said, but what do you want people to think about your music or to be, I don't know, like, okay, why should people listen to your music? Let me ask that.
Okay, I think my music is about really finding your voice and yeah, like talk about stuff that you want to talk about, and especially one of the songs I put out in the EP, which is called "You Don't Have Any Power Over Me."
I'm calling to let you know you don't have that power over me now. You don't have any power.
Is a really cathartic for me. A song that really about like it's therapy for me, so I think it can help people too. It's really about like a toxic relationship and how you can move forward and feel like you belong in your body again, then you own your body, and yeah, feeling like yourself again. So I think it's kind of the EP is about like it's kind of yeah, taking what's yours, I guess, and it's really yeah, like saying whatever you want to say, no matter how cheesy or whatever it is. It's yeah, it's I think it's about that. My music is really about just finding your voice and say whatever you want to say.
Driving home in your van, you've been staring at your parents' house for a while, and I'm midnight jogs, isn't feel right. Feels like I'm talking to your phantoms.
I like that. Just a day or two ago, I was speaking with a music producer, but also he's I don't know, for lack of a better word, I really feel like he's like a motivational speaker, kind of, but he doesn't present it as much. I just feel really inspired by him. Jerry B is his name, Jere, and then the letter B. Yeah.
Okay.
Jerry B does this podcast, and he has a television show and all this stuff. It's called The Entre Musician, as an entrepreneur musician, right? And what you just said, like what you're trying to sort of express in your music, is kind of one of the main things that he was talking about, is just do it. You know, you're always going to have those doubts. Like you said, you know, if it's cheesy or whatever, sometimes it's not cheesy. It's just when I listen to something that I've written, or I do like remixes and things like that. So when I do them, sometimes I'm like, oh man, that just sounds so like 80s, you know, like, you know, or whatever. And then when I put it out, that sure enough is the one that people like, you know? So sometimes it's just get started, just do it, you know? So, and I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely fits with what you are doing right now. Like you had a band, you felt let down, and you said, no, I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to push ahead, you know? So it's kind of the same theme, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially because when we split up, at first I wanted to quit music, and then after I had this whole like situation, I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna stop right now. It's yeah, I'm never gonna do that. So yeah, that's how yeah I find my voice back. So yeah, it's really exactly like this.
Quit so many times, somehow I thought it was just a bad day. Learn my lesson, yeah, you made it clear. The only thing you care about is yourself, and you smashed everything. You're such a kid. Say if I don't have it, then no one will. If I don't have it, then no one will.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you write all of these songs after the band split up, or was it?
Especially Kid and You Don't Have Any Power Over Me. But Jovan and Frank Jones was I think it was yeah, we were still in a band when I was writing like on the side for just for myself. So yeah, I think yeah, it was in between.
Okay, that's interesting. So like it will be interesting to see what the next set of songs look like, because then you yourself in every aspect are moving on from that, so what's the next stage? Did you guys co-write in the band, or was it just
No, it was just me. Yeah.
okay? So that makes a little more sense to me as well, because I know one of my first bands, I always co-wrote with the drummer from that band. It worked really well. We had a nice formula, etc. And then suddenly when that band split up, I was like, uh-oh, how do I make my songs sound like the time that I'm in? And so that was a hard transition for me. It would have been, I imagine, not as hard for you if you were already the person writing the songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was not really a change for me, but I think just emotional stuff since we're going through split up. But yeah, it was just that. For the songwriting was, not a really big change for me.
Yeah, I really hope that, just us talking here will help to get your songs out to a new audience, a wider audience, as well. I mean, I think you're doing great as it is with that, but I'm just trying to help get the word out there a little bit. So I hope that will happen.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to. Yeah, I really want to reach as many people as I can. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, hey, Alie, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me here. I should say thank you as well, because really it was you who reached out originally to share your music. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, wait, we should talk. So thank you for reaching out. I think it's a great idea what you're doing with SoundCloud.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me, to talk a bit. It was really nice, and yeah, I'm really glad I reached out to you, actually.
Yeah, me too. I would love to follow up as well. I mean, looking at what's happened over the last just few months with, your video coming out and the reception that you're getting from people, I would love to follow up, maybe 6 months or so in the future and see again where you're at that point, which milestone have you reached?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I wish you all the best. I know that the more people that hear this, once I heard it, I was like, I wanted to hear more. So I think it's going to be the same for other people.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really means a lot.
Okay. All the best to you. I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night.